Humans are known for many feats and abilities, but perhaps none more resilient and universal than their ability to persevere. Despite all odds, in the face of plagues, wars, and melting ice caps, we somehow persist to see the next day. So when ancient men were tasked with finding a way to reignite their will to live after a hard day of work, they crafted the wheat nectar of the gods. Yes, beer, the oldest recorded drink in history, just barely beaten by water. From what was originally just herbs and dates has grown to a massive worldwide industry. Breweries, bars, and enthusiasts can be found in every corner of every settlement. With that in mind, where did it all begin, and how did it become the phenomenon that it is known as today?
3-minute flicks. Entertaining, educating, and enlightening.
The first documented evidence of the act of brewing beer is to be dated around 5000 BC, back in the time of the ancient Egyptians. These lovely liquids were brewed using indigenous herbs, pomegranates, and dates. A little sip of something like this would probably put you back quite a bit harder than a Bud Light, and we can only speculate upon the unique taste that it had. However, rather than being used recreationally, beers were often used in religious ceremonies, and the reigning pharaoh would be in charge of the brewing process, ingredients, and the distribution to the masses. However, while they were the first to document the process, the Egyptians are believed to be preceded by the ancient Mesopotamians from around 10,000 BC. While no written proof has been discovered, barley scraps in bowls with residue suspiciously reminiscent of beer were left behind. This beer residue is believed to be a combination of fermented grain porridge with wild yeast, granting that warm, fuzzy feeling. Eventually, as all things seemed to do in the early days, beer made its way over to Europe. The flame was ignited and the beer craze spread across the entire continent. Beer was hailed as a more nutritional alternative to water, as well as a safe way to brew out the contaminants that had infected most drinking sources, namely human waste. Lovely. However, the beer was still nothing like we know now, until the Middle Ages when German monks began commonly using hops during the brewing process. Hops added that bitterness that beer is known for, as well as functioned as a natural preservative. In fact, monks were by far the most prominent brewers of that age, and most breakthroughs in beer science are attributed to them. Europe as a whole became the absolute brewing center of the world, as people realized that their beer made them feel good, but man, it tasted like absolute dirt, and something had to be done about that. Throughout the many countries like Germany, Belgium, Britain, and the British Isles, they all began altering the brewing process with different ingredients, storage, brewing times, and all that beer-making stuff. Beers like pale ales, porters, stouts, and more broke out of the ancient brewing traditions and made drinking a much more enjoyable experience. The brewing innovation never ends, from ancient Egyptians to monks to that weird guy in your college class that keeps inviting you over to try that IPA he's been brewing in his mom's basement. Humans always find a way to create something new.
Three-minute flicks. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We create new videos weekly.